Welcome back. In this lesson, moving forward, I'm going to demonstrate and create a program using JavaFX. So let's go ahead, let's jump right in. I'm going to go ahead and first create a new class. So right click on the default package within the advanced project and then choose new, click on class, just give it any name. I'm going to go ahead and call it simply FX. Click finish. And this creates a public class called FX. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and import various modules, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say import JavaFX, and we installed FX in the last lesson, by the way. Application, and then dot application again with a semicolon. Next, I'm going to go ahead and import the event action event also. So let's go ahead and do java.event and then the action event with a semicolon. Next, I'm going to go ahead and import the event handler as well. So let's go ahead and do java.event and then just simply do the event handler with a semicolon. Few more that I need to import is the actual scene and then some buttons and layout as well. So let's go ahead and do import .javafx.scene, and then of course one more time with a semicolon. Quickly fix the syntax up here, so it's JavaFX, by the way, right? Otherwise it's just looking for the Java. So I'm going to go ahead and fix it. Perfect. So once I'm done with this, I don't need the dot after import, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. So after I import the Java scene, for example, I also need to go ahead and import the JavaFX dot scene and then the control dot button semicolon. Let's go ahead and also import. I could have just imported everything, right? But I just wanted to show you that various modules that you can import and work with. So here, let's go ahead and do JavaFX dot scene, and then I'm looking for the layout, right? So I'm going to go ahead and simply choose layout. I can choose from the list, and then from the layout I'm looking for the stack pane. And once again, I can use the asterisk, right? It's a good idea to actually take a look at each one of these. Semicolon, and then let's do one more. So import JavaFX and then the stage, most important, semicolon. Perfect. So next is obviously my public class. I'm going to go ahead and use the extends application and then open the curly braces. Perfect. And then this is going to be, let's say, the curly braces. Right after curly braces, I'm going to go ahead and enter and then use the keywords. So public, static, void, and in fact I'm just going to use the void for now, not the static here. So just do public, void. I'm going to go ahead and do the start, and then I bring up my stage, set the stage to be primary. That's the first step. Open the curly braces and then specify the button. So here I'm just going to go ahead and basically create the canvas, so to speak, right? Like we've been doing in AWT and Swing. In using FX, I just set the primary stage and then the button. So it'll be button, get my variable in here, equals new button, and use the method. Perfect. Once I use the new button function, for example, next I'm going to go ahead and do btn and set this to say something. So I'm going to go ahead and say text, and this text is going to contain, just could be any, how about hello world, something like that, right? So it's going to say hello world, exclamation mark, and then I'm going to go ahead and say JavaFX is awesome. Close the quotations here, and of course I also need to close the single quotes, make sure I have those. Once I'm done with this, I need to attach this to the handler, right? So the event handler is going to happen. So let's go ahead and do another btn dot set, and here I need the on action. So let's go ahead and do set on action, and the value for this is going to be new and then event handler. Perfect. And after event handler, I need the action event. So here I'm going to go ahead and say action event. Perfect. And of course that's a function. Open the curly braces. Let's go ahead and close the set of parentheses here so our syntax becomes correct. Perfect. So after the curly braces is open, next I need to make sure I have the action event and of course the printout, right? So for this I need to do the public void again. So I'm going to go ahead and do public void, specify the handle, and then the parameter is going to be the action event. Open the curly braces, and I also need to specify the printout. So system.out.println, and what am I printing? I'm just going to go ahead and say the same thing. So hello world, exclamation mark, and then say something like JavaFX is awesome, and then need a semicolon. Perfect. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and close the curly braces, and of course I need to close the curly braces for the public class and then the set of parentheses with a semicolon. Perfect. Let's go ahead and fix up the syntax up here on the set on action, new event handler, and then I don't need the parentheses here. Great. It comes at the end of this block. Perfect. So here I've just set the stage, primary stage, and a button on that stage. Okay, so what this is going to do basically is just bring up a canvas that's going to have a button, and once I click on that button, right, the set on action, right, that's why we're using the event handler. So it's going to display the message hello world, Java is awesome in the console window. So that's the idea, that's the objective, what we're actually writing this program for. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and let's say enter some spaces so you can see. Start with my stack pane. That's what I need next. Get a variable in here, root equals to new stack pane, semicolon, and then let's go ahead and do root and then get children. That's what I'm going to use here. So once I do this, and what this is going to do is just bring up basically the list from the parent, right? So if the parent obviously is the event handler above, we specified when we clicked on, let's say, the JavaFX is awesome on the button, it's going to run something or display an output, right? So it's going to get the children here. That's where we use this. And then I'm going to set this children.add to the btn. Perfect. Semicolon. So once I'm done with this, next I define my scene, right? The actual canvas window, for example. So here I'm going to go ahead and do scene equals the new scene, and then of course the root goes in here, and then comma, specify let's say 300 by 400, or let's say 250 is fine, semicolon, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the primary stage, give some titles, right? So let's go ahead and set a title. The title is going to just say hello world. This is the title for the actual window that is going to pop up, right? And that window title is going to say hello world. That's good enough. And then after the semicolon, let's go ahead and also set some additional properties. So let's go do primary stage dot set scene, and then here I'm just gonna use the lowercase scene. Perfect. One more. Let's go ahead and do, let's say, primary stage and then use the show. Perfect. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and close the curly braces. In fact, bring these up here so I don't have one too many. And then, of course, get rid of the parentheses. Perfect. After the curly braces, I'm going to go ahead and do the public static void. And that's our main function. So public static void main. And then let's go ahead and do string. I need to open the parentheses after main here with the command line arguments, if any. Open the curly braces, and simply at this point I'm going to use the launch. So it's going to launch the arguments. Semicolon. Make sure I have my curly braces closed. Perfect. So a simple hello world program using JavaFX, right? So if I run this program, it's going to bring up a window that's going to contain a button, and if I click on a button, for example, the output is going to be displayed within the console below. So let's go ahead and run this. Click on the run button. Save and launch dialog box appears. Click OK, and perfect. So we have a nice window. The title is here. It says hello world, and the button says say hello world. JavaFX is awesome. And that's exactly what we have within our code right here. So now if I click on this button, perfect. On the output window, in the console window, it shows up. So this way, you can create a simple program like we just did using the hello world, the JavaFX, or you can now add to it. So go ahead and practice, and let's move to the next lesson.